Want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, after graduating, I decided I would go back for a master's degree. And, but at the same time, there was a circular from the International Monetary Fund. Ireland had very recently become a member, and they were interested in having an Irish person. So my professor said to me, "Did you ever think of becoming an economist?" And I said, "No, I don't think I could earn my living as an economist." He said, "No, it's not that bad." So anyhow, I filled out the form, and they called me to an interview in Paris, which was, for me, it was great. First time I was ever in an aeroplane in my life. I was being put up in a nicer hotel than I had ever been inside. And I think I had 3 days in Paris. And the interview, I left it without any feeling as to whether it was good, bad, or indifferent. And that was during the month of August. And I heard nothing from them then on Christmas Eve. The mailman came to the door, and he had a big thick envelope. And I thought, okay, they had asked me to submit some papers I had written. Said they're returning the papers to me. Opened up, and there was an offer of a job. In retrospect, okay, I worked out all right for the International Monetary Fund, but I would say I was very ill prepared. The economics program at the university, it was hit or miss, and more miss than hit. So there were things in economics that I knew nothing about. In the course they had money and banking, and they had public finance. But it wasn't economics, it was just procedural things. And on money and banking, a bit of history and none of the theory. So when I finally came to Washington, I was very badly prepared. And it could have been fixed, and there were some division chiefs in the IMF who were very good. They would give you an assignment and then go over it with you and say, point out what you could be doing and what was involved in it. He had come through Cambridge, allegedly brilliantly. I wouldn't say he was brilliant, he was very well trained. And of course he had, at that time, the English had a superiority complex. And the most inferior species were the Irish. So he did absolutely nothing to give me an orientation. So, I struggled. I struggled for a couple of years. And if I weren't so stubborn, I think I would have quit. but I was, okay, I was the first Irish person to go there, so in other words, there was some pride in it, and having got accepted, I was reluctant to say, you're in the wrong place. And then finally, I saw that things were different in other departments, and I put in my performance report that I would like to be transferred.
Which department were you in?
I was in the European department, but saying I'd like a transfer, put a cat among the pigeons. But I didn't get a transfer to another department, but I was taken on 2 missions by one of the top people in the department. He said, you know, he's doing the job all right. And, you know, he should be given an opportunity. So after that, things started picking up. And the person that I had gone on these 2 missions with, I went on a number of missions with him subsequently, and we had developed a good rapport, and he was actually a good man to work for. He was a very good manager. He would, I remember he said to me, the first 2 missions I had with him, they were consecutive missions. So there was a pretty heavy workload. I had to do reports for 2 countries. And he said, look, I want the first report in 3 weeks, and I want the second report 3 weeks after that. They don't have to be the best reports in the world. The best you can do in the time available without killing yourself, which I think was, you know, indicated that he was a mature manager. He didn't get you all wound up. Geez, can I do this or not? So anyhow, I settled in after that. At that time, the 2 desk responsibilities I had were South Africa and Ghana. Both of them were in the British Commonwealth. And a friend of mine in Ireland, when he heard that, you know, an Irishman in the British Commonwealth division with desk responsibility for Ghana and South Africa, he said, surely this must be the lunatic fringe of the British Commonwealth. But okay, then Ghana they established an African department. Given the apartheid in South Africa said it wanted to stay in the European department, which it did. But Ghana was one of the first and most important countries in the African department. So I went over to the African department at that stage. Working on Ghana it was very interesting, because some of the people there, some of the Ghanaians, first rate. They had had very good training, initially in Ghana, subsequently in the United Kingdom, and you know, and they were very bright. So it was a new country, making mistakes, I suppose, that new countries make. And the Cold War, the Soviet was making nice with Ghana. and the president of Ghana, who had not been through, essentially had not been through the British system. He had got his university education in the United States. That was Kwame Nkrumah was his name.